Well, the Committee on Courts of Justice will come to order, and I'd like to ask Clerk to call the roll. Supporters of the bill first. We've got 3 minutes.
If we could hear from Ms. Courtney Carroll.
You all step right up. Yes, ma'am.
Thank
Welcome.
you. I am a Route 91 survivor. If you'd asked my friends before September what words would use to describe me, and it would be fun-loving, energetic, fearless, spontaneous, bubbly. All that changed the night of October 1st. Country music concerts were my happy place. On October 1st, my aunt and I were singing along to Jason Aldean when the first shots rang out. I mentioned the sound, and everyone around me assured me it was fireworks. Seconds later, what sounded like machine gun fire that you'd only hear in movies began. We immediately crouched down. You see, we were packed in that venue of 22,000 people. As I laid crouched down, covered by people, I kept thinking, this couldn't happen. This couldn't happen to me. Not now. I prayed, and I prayed for my safe return to my 2 children. The sounds of that night haunt me daily. The screams, the crying, the people yelling. After 5 rounds of shooting, we got up and we ran. We spent the next minutes running for our lives, hiding behind cars, taking cover as he reloaded. We hit a dead end, and we dove for the ground. At this moment, my aunt yelled out that she had been hit. She was grazed by a bullet above the eye. I can't even describe to you the horror of looking at my aunt with blood dripping down her face. To describe the horror of that night, just imagine the sounds of bullets ricocheting off the stage, off the ground, everywhere. Seeing people shot, bleeding out, and murdered. And our night didn't end there. We had no idea where my uncle or my boyfriend were. We took cover in a random building and we hid in a bathroom floor of a men's urinal for 5 hours as reports of extra shooters coming out all over Las Vegas. That horrible night, we lost 58 and over 500 were injured. That horrid monster that shot at us from his room on the 32nd floor of the Mandalay Bay hotel fired using a bump stock equipped weapons, allowing him to change a semi-automatic rifle into essentially a machine gun. If bump stocks were banned, I truly believe we would have not lost so many that night. We would have had time to run and hide. We would have time to take cover. He wouldn't have been able to fire 1,100 rounds in minutes. Since that night, I barely leave my home. I suffer from PTSD. We were untrained in a war zone. I struggle with anxiety, depression. Every time I enter a building, I look for exits, and I wonder where I would hide if a shooter were to enter. Do you know what it's like to live in fear 24/7? Because I do, and thousands of others do. I can't be in crowds. I jump at every loud noise. And I'm one of the lucky ones. Others are paralyzed, they're blind, and living with bullets in their body. Something that may surprise you is I'm a Republican. I vote in every election. I grew up around hunters. I can still remember when my dad hid his rifle. And my boyfriend of 3 years is not only a hunter, but just purchased his first handgun. I am all for gun rights, if used properly. I've asked him and I've asked other hunters if there's a need for bump stocks to be used in hunting. The answer is always an immediate no. Committee members, I'm asking you to think of my story. 200 mass shootings happen yearly in the U.S. There is no reason why we need to make this easier for these killers to murder more innocent people. I beseech you to pass this bill and ban bump stocks. I assure you that just like you are probably thinking, this will never happen to me. Well, it can. And not if you can't think of yourself, think of your children, your family, and your friends. What was supposed to be a night of fun and singing and meeting new people turned into the worst mass shooting in modern history. Please don't allow this to happen again.
Thank you for coming. Thank you for sharing your moving story. Thank you.